While the 2024 MLB season is officially underway, with the Dodgers and Padres playing in South Korea a few days ago, opening day is coming up for 28 teams in the league, as every team in the league will be active on Thursday. Because the season still isn't underway for all but 2 teams, I figured I should make a preseason power rankings video. Power rankings are simply how I view each team right now from worst to first. There's no one reason why I rank each team in a specific spot. I'm literally just going to rank all 30 teams as I see them right now. It's not who I think is most likely to win the World Series, it's who I view as the better team right now. Without further ado, let's get into my rankings. At number 30, I have the Oakland A's. While the team is looking better than last year, they're still looking horrible. I like some of the moves they made this offseason, such as signing veterans like Alex Wood, JD Davis, Scott Alexander, and Abraham Toro to 1-year deals. They should have signed more veterans like this because they can give them lots of playing time and flip them to a contender for prospects at the deadline if they play well. I think their young players like Zach Geloff and Shea Langeliers are going to continue to improve this season. Despite this, the team is primed for another 100-loss season without a doubt. At number 29, I have the Chicago White Sox. It's pretty wild to me how in a 3-year span, this team went from looking like a contender for a long time to one of the worst teams in baseball so quickly. The White Sox just haven't played well recently, and to their front office's credit, they pulled the plug and traded away a lot of talent last year. As a result of this teardown, their Major League roster is awful right now. Sure, there's still good players like Luis Robert Jr., Eloy Jimenez, and Andrew Vaughn, but the rest of the roster is just a bunch of old veterans whose best days are behind them. They're probably going to lose another 100 games this season. At number 28, I have the Colorado Rockies. Rockies fans are probably ecstatic that they don't have them at 29th or 30th on this list. Don't celebrate too much, because this team is not good at all. Even if Chris Bryant somehow returns to his old MVP form this year, they probably won't sniff 70 wins due to how awful their pitching staff is looking. I like Nolan Jones and Ezekiel Tovar, but there aren't many players besides them on this team that I think will still be here 3 years from now. It's going to be another rough year in Colorado, no doubt. At number 27, I have the Washington Nationals. It's pretty crazy the Nationals won 71 games last season, because on paper they shouldn't have even won more than 60 games. Dave Martinez did a fantastic job with the team last year. That being said, 2024 is a new season and I don't see them winning more than 71 games this year. I like them bringing in vets like Joey Gallo, Jesse Winker, and Nick Senzel, but other than that, it's the same team as last year. I think their young players like CJ Abrams and Mackenzie Gore will improve again this season, but it's not enough to justify a higher ranking than 27th right now. At number 26, I have the Los Angeles Angels. I already know Angels fans in the comments are screaming at me for ranking them here, but seriously think about this. They won 73 games last season with Shohei Ohtani recording 10 B-WAR for the team. In case you live under a rock, Shohei Ohtani is no longer on the team, and they didn't even try to replace him with someone who could help like JD Martinez. Mike Trout isn't getting any younger, and Anthony Rendon certainly isn't going to have a career renaissance anytime soon. With their pitching staff looking mediocre at best, and their division being pretty good, I don't think they're going to win 70 games this season. At number 25, I have the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm a big fan of this Pirates team, but I can't rank them much higher than here until they actually go out there and start winning games. As much as I like what they did in the offseason, buying low on guys like Rowdy Tellez, Michael A. Taylor, and Marco Gonzalez, this team is not better than any of the teams ranked above them on paper at the moment. With Oneil Cruz fully healthy and Henry Davis getting another year in the big leagues, this team should definitely improve in 2024. At number 24, I have the Kansas City Royals. If you didn't follow baseball much the past few months, I'm here to tell you that the Kansas City Royals had a fantastic offseason. Not only did they extend Bobby Witt Jr. for 11 years and almost $300 million, but they also made some other great moves. They brought in Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha on multi-year deals to help their starting rotation, Will Smith and Chris Stratton to help their bullpen, and Hunter Renfroe, Garrett Hampson, and Adam Frazier to help their offense. If their young players improve this season, they could be a sleeper team to make the playoffs. Being in the weakest division in baseball, I think the Royals should easily win 70 games this season, which would honestly be a win for the team and their fans in my opinion. At number 23, I have the New York Mets. Before I made this list, I really thought I would have the Mets a lot higher, but when I take a deeper look at teams, I just can't get myself to put them higher than here. They had an absolutely awful 2023 season with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer in the rotation. Now, their ace heading into the season is Jose Quintana. The offense outside of Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, JD Martinez, and Brandon Nimmo is incredibly questionable. Getting Edwin Diaz back will help the back end of their bullpen a lot, but outside of him, I'm very concerned about the rest of the bullpen. It's pretty crazy to me how the team's payroll is $325 million for the season, given how mediocre they're looking to me. At number 22, I have the Milwaukee Brewers. It feels very weird ranking the Brewers this low, but they got worse this offseason, no doubt. They won the NL Central last season, but lost to the Diamondbacks in the wildcard round in 2 games. With Corbin Bird set to be a free agent after the 2024 season, they decided to trade him to the Orioles for prospects instead of losing him for nothing a season later. Not only will they be without Burns in 2024, but Brandon Woodruff underwent shoulder surgery last October and most likely will not pitch in 2024. Additionally, Devin Williams is going to miss the first 2 months of the season minimum due to a back injury. I like some of their young players, and Christian Yelich and Freddie Peralta are still very good, but I can't imagine they get back to the playoffs this season. At number 21, I have the Boston Red Sox. I feel bad for Red Sox fans right now. Their ownership has gotten incredibly cheap as of recent, as they traded Mookie Betts for basically nothing and saw Xander Bogaerts leave for nothing after the 2022 season. While their team isn't necessarily bad, they're in one of the best divisions of all time, and they're pretty clearly the worst team in the AL East. While that has no impact on power rankings, the team is pretty mid right now. Although they have solid young players like Tristan Casas and Brian Bayo, I think they're a pretty average team, and I think they'll be right under 500 by the year's end. At number 20, I have the Miami Marlins. The Marlins' 2023 season was a huge success, as they made the playoffs for the first time in a full season since 2003. Right now, they have a ton of injuries to their pitching rotation. Sandy Alcantara is out for the entire season after undergoing Tommy John surgery, while other quality young pitchers like Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett, and Ayuri Perez are all banged up. They signed Tim Anderson to a one-year contract last month, and I think he has a great opportunity to turn his career around in Miami. I think they definitely have a chance to get back to the playoffs in 2024, but they really need to get their pitching healthy. At number 19, I have the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians are a really tough team to rank. Their starting pitching rotation is unbelievably deep, and it's probably top 5 in the league. On the other hand, their projected starting lineup is pretty weak. Outside of Jose Ramirez, they have some good hitters like Josh Naylor, Bo Naylor, Steven Kwan, and Andres Jimenez, but besides them, it's a bunch of below-average hitters. I really don't know why they didn't upgrade the offense this offseason, because that very well could be the difference between them competing for a division title or not. Still, their pitching should be good enough to take them to at least 75 wins this season. At number 18, I have the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers had a sneaky good 2023 season and improved a lot this offseason. They went 78 and 84 last season, which is a lot better than most fans thought they would. This offseason, they've added Kenta Maeda, Jack Flaherty, Mark Canha, Andrew Chafin, and Shelby Miller. Not to mention, top prospects Colt Keith and Parker Meadows both look like they'll play every day for the team in 2024. I'm not sure if the Tigers have a chance to win a wildcard spot this upcoming season, but the AL Central is pretty weak, so I do give them an outside chance to win the division this season. Either way, they should be a lot better and a lot more fun to watch this season. At number 17, I have the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds won 20 more games in 2023 than they did in 2022, and finished over 500 for the second time in a full season since 2013. A lot of this was in part to them calling up a lot of their top prospects like Elly De La Cruz, Matt McClain, and Noelvi Marte. They went out this offseason and spent over $100 million to bring in Jeimer Candelario, Frankie Montas, and Nick Martinez. Much like the Tigers, I expect the Reds to improve again in 2024, as their young players get more reps and the veterans contribute to the team. I wouldn't be shocked at all if this team makes the playoffs in 2024. At number 16, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals' 2023 season was an absolute disaster, but I think they'll be much better in 2024. There really weren't many bright spots last season. Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt both had down seasons. There were early season controversies with Wilson Contreras for no reason, and Adam Wainwright had one of the worst final seasons of anyone in baseball history. 2024 is a new year though, and they still have a ton of talent. They brought in Sonny Gray to be their ace for the next 3 seasons, and signed Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson to give them quality innings. Arenado and Goldie should have better 2024 campaigns, while young players like Lars Nootbaar, Nolan Gorman, and Jordan Walker should as well. This just feels like the right spot for the Cardinals. At number 15, I have the San Francisco Giants. I initially had the Giants at number 18 in my power rankings, but moved them up to number 15 after the signing of Blake Snell. The Giants were just okay last season, but went out and really improved the roster this offseason. They've committed $323 million to Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, Jung-Hoo Lee, Jorge Soler, Jordan Hicks, and Tom Murphy. Clearly, the front office wasn't satisfied for just being an average team. These moves take them from being an average team at best to a team that probably should make the playoffs. I don't see them being as good as the Dodgers, Braves, or Phillies in the National League, but they're looking pretty solid. At number 14, I have the San Diego Padres. 2023 was an unmitigated failure for the Padres. They went out and signed Xander Bogaerts to a monster contract the prior offseason, and they managed to only win a measly 82 games after a lot of people predicted them to win the World Series. Not only did they win 82 games last season, but this offseason, they've lost the reigning NL Cy Young winner in Blake Snell, the best closer in baseball in Josh Hader, and traded a top 5 player in baseball away in Juan Soto. Despite losing this much talent, I think they'll win more than 82 games in 2024. They recently acquired Dylan Cease, who is a fantastic starting pitcher. They've also upgraded the bullpen this offseason, which was not good in 2023. I have them in the same tier of contenders as the Giants. They're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not as good as the top 3 teams in the NL. At number 13, I have the Chicago Cubs. After just missing the playoffs last season, the Cubs had a pretty good offseason. They re-signed Cody Bellinger on a reasonable 3-year deal, along with bringing in Shoto Imanaga, Hector Neris, and Michael Busch. The team on paper is pretty solid in basically every aspect. The lineup is above average, their starting pitching is above average, their bullpen is above average, and their defense is well above average. With the NL Central not being fantastic and having no clear favorite, they very well could win the division this season. At number 12, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays are tough to rank every season. They've made the playoffs in each of the past 5 seasons, while having rosters that are bottom 5 in payroll in every single season. This past offseason, they traded away ace Tyler Glasnow in order to trim their payroll in 2024. Not to mention, they'll most likely be without their best 3 pitchers, Shane McClanahan, Jeffrey Springs, and Drew Rasmussen, for most likely all of 2024. Still, they're the Rays, and they always seem to find ways to put a competitive team out there. They're not flashy or dominant in any one category, but they have quality players who produce at an above average level. With how good the American League is, I don't think they'll make the playoffs in 2024, but I just can't ever count this team out. At number 11, I have the Toronto Blue Jays. The Jays have gotten a wildcard spot in each of the past 2 seasons, but have lost all 4 playoff games they've been a part of. This offseason was kind of a wash for them. Although they lost Matt Chapman, Jordan Hicks, and Whit Merrifield, they signed Justin Turner and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to offset their losses. I like this team, but I think they're just sort of stuck in a tier being a pretty good team, but not enough to win a World Series. They're just better than average, and that seems to be their ceiling. At number 10, I have the Minnesota Twins. Twins had a very poor 2022 season, but followed that up with a solid 2023 season that resulted in an AL Central title. They won the wildcard round against the Blue Jays in 2 games, but lost in the division series to the Astros. While the loss of Sonny Gray would definitely hurt them, their starting rotation is pretty solid, and their starting lineup is definitely above average. If their young players like Royce Lewis and Alex Kirilloff improve, and Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton bounce back, they can definitely contend for a World Series. At number 9, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks lost 110 games in 2021 and looked like they were in for a long rebuild. Fast forward 2 years later, and they're in their second World Series ever. Thanks to some awesome performances from their young studs like Corbin Carroll and Gabriel Moreno, this team made a crazy run in last year's playoffs and fell just short of winning it all. This past offseason, the team made some major upgrades. They signed Eduardo Rodriguez to bolster their starting rotation, Jock Peterson and Randall Grichuk to improve their lineup, and also traded for Eugenio Suarez. Given all these moves and their young players improving, I definitely think they'll make the playoffs again in 2024. At number 8, I have the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners made the playoffs in 2022, marking their first appearance since 2001. While they won a great 88 games in 2023, they finished just short of winning the division and earning a wildcard spot, as the team missed the playoffs. The team recently had a very interesting offseason. They traded away Eugenio Suarez, Jared Kelenic, Marco Gonzalez, and Justin Topa, while bringing in Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco, Mitch Haniger, and Luke Raley. I'm a big fan of this team and really hope they make the playoffs again this upcoming season because their fan base is truly one of the best in baseball. At number 7, I have the New York Yankees. The Yankees missed the playoffs last season for the first time since 2016. As a result, they made a point to improve their team this offseason as they acquired Juan Soto from the Padres and signed Marcus Stroman. I would have them a few spots higher right now, but Garrett Cole is going to miss at least 2 months due to an elbow injury. As good as the team looks on paper, there's a lot of question marks. Outside of Soto, the team has been very prone to injuries over the past few seasons. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Anthony Rizzo, and Carlos Rodon have both suffered their shares of injuries as of recent. It's tough to rank this team because I think they could definitely win a World Series, but also could miss the playoffs if their players underperform and they suffer injuries. This spot just feels right for them right now. At number 6, I have the Texas Rangers. After missing the playoffs from 2017 to 2021, the Rangers decided they wanted to improve and spend big again. They committed almost $600 million to Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and John Gray after the 2021 season, and committed another $250 million to Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, and Andrew Heaney after the 2022 season. While they were mediocre in 2022, they improved a lot in 2023. They won 90 games this past season, while eventually going on an incredible run in the playoffs and winning the World Series. They also traded for Max Scherzer and Jordan Montgomery at the trade deadline, as the front office signaled they were all in on this team. This 2024 team is looking very good. While they won't have deGrom and Monty for all of 2024, and Scherzer for most of the season, the team's starting lineup is top 3 in the league. Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford both look like they'll be superstars for a long time, so I expect another great year for the Rangers. At number 5, I have the Philadelphia Phillies. While the Phillies missed the playoffs 10 seasons in a row from 2012 to 2021, they made it to the World Series in 2022 and were 1 game away from making the World Series again in 2023. This team is looking great heading into 2024. Bryce Harper should be fully recovered from Tommy John surgery, Trey Turner should build off what he did in the second half of last season, and Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola make up for a fantastic 1-2 punch in the starting rotation. My only concern with this team is their bullpen looks just okay on paper, but they should easily be able to make the playoffs again this season. I don't think they'll compete with the Braves for an NL East title, but I expect another 90-win season out of them. At number 4, I have the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles went through a very long 6-year rebuild, but came into their own in the second half of the 2022 season. After Adley Rutschman made his debut that year, they became one of the best teams in the sport. In 2023, they won 101 games and won the AL East for the first time since 2014. While they got swept by the eventual champion Rangers in the division series, the season was still a massive success. Gunnar Henderson emerged as a superstar, Kyle Bradish showed flashes of ace potential, and Yennier Cano became one of the best relievers in the league. Looking ahead, they still have the #1 farm system in baseball, as top prospect Jackson Holliday looks like he'll be ready to go in the major leagues very soon. They also traded for Corbin Burns this offseason, giving them an ace that they definitely need. This team should be able to compete for a World Series for a very long time. At number 3, I have the Houston Astros. I know some of you guys are going to say the Orioles are the top team in the American League, but I can't go away from the Astros yet. They made it to 7 straight American League Championship Series while making the World Series 4 times and winning it twice. The core of this team is still here, and they added Josh Hader this offseason. Jose Abreu should be better than he was last season, and if Jose Altuve is fully healthy, this lineup is going to be great again. I am concerned about the starting rotation's health, but they've been great at finding serviceable depth pieces over the past few years. I don't see this team fading away anytime soon. At number 2, I have the Atlanta Braves. It was tough deciding whether to put the Braves at 1 or 2, but the team ahead of them just had one of the best offseasons of all time. The Braves front office has done an unbelievable job at developing young stars and extending them for a long time. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr., Spencer Strider, and Sean Murphy all have at least 5 years left on their contracts at very cheap dollar amounts. There's so many other stars on the team that I'm not even going to mention because there's too many to count. They won over 100 games in each of the past 2 seasons, and I don't see why they won't do so again in 2024. At number 1, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers. Could I really put anyone beside the Dodgers the best team in baseball? They've been the best team in baseball over the past decade, as they made the playoffs 11 straight seasons and won a World Series in 2020. They won 100 games last season and added Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, and Teoscar Hernandez this offseason. This was the best offseason of any team in sports history. While Shohei Ohtani won't pitch in 2024, the team is so loaded that they can win 110 games for sure. I honestly don't think a team other than the Dodgers or Braves will hold the #1 spot in my power rankings at any point throughout the season. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'm so incredibly excited for the MLB season to officially officially be underway, and hope all of you share the same excitement as I do. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like and subscribe button for more content. As always, leave a comment down below your thoughts on my power rankings. If these videos do well, I'll keep doing power rankings videos every Sunday night. Appreciate you if you made it this far in the video, and hope you have a great rest of your day.